Nancy Cordes, good enough to be here with us today. Nancy, to debate or not to debate, this is really a debate unto itself between these campaigns here. What are the motivations for both?
Well, for Bernie Sanders, he wants as big of an audience as possible. He wants to show that he is on equal footing with Hillary Clinton on her home turf, because she represented New York for 8 years, which, by the way, he can also lay claim to as his home turf because he grew up in Brooklyn. This is a must-win state for both of them, and so he knows that he needs to have something big happen in order to catch up to Clinton here, where she's leading by 10 points. She, on the other hand, didn't really expect that she was still going to have to be debating him at this point in the primary season. So her camp would rather as few people watch as possible. That's why they're proposing holding this debate maybe tonight during the NCAA finals, or perhaps next week during the morning hours. I think they will eventually agree upon a date, but not after bludgeoning each other over this issue for a little while longer.
You mentioned that when they tossed the date out tonight, the Sanders campaign made sure to call that ludicrous, in a press release, no less.
Right. So, and the Clinton camp says, well, we were going to make sure that the debate was held before a tip-off. But that's really challenging to do, because I think tip-off is about 9 o'clock, which is often when these debates start.
Right. It's the finals the whole day.
Right.
Meanwhile, to tomorrow in Wisconsin, neck and neck, Sanders with a lead, but it's within the margin of error right now. What would a win for him mean for this race?
What it means is not only that he's winning in a pretty sizable state, which is impressive at this point in the campaign season when Clinton has such a large delegate lead, but also that he's able to rack up so many successive victories. It'll be his 4th straight win if he's victorious in Wisconsin tomorrow. He's won a bunch of caucuses, and it just shows that he's got staying power, which means that there is no incentive for him to dial back in going after Clinton, or certainly not to leave the race.
Interestingly, though, it's the decision not to go after the secretary on some very key issues, at least earlier in the race, that many now in the campaign itself seem to be regretting. The New York Times over the weekend highlighted some of these missed opportunities, even as this rhetoric now has been ratcheted between both. What to make of this? Boy, I wish we would have.
It's a really tough one, because as you pointed out, you know, the fact that he didn't go after her over some of these issues is the reason that so many people liked him in the first place, because they said he's a different kind of politician. He's focusing on the issues, and so that's why he got a lot of support. But now that some of his top campaign officials see, oh my gosh, he was so close in Iowa, he was so close in Nevada, 2 of the 3 early states, they say, wait, maybe if we had just poured it on a little bit more, a little earlier, perhaps we could have overtaken her in those early states, and we'd be having a different kind of conversation right now. It's really hard to say. Certainly in the beginning of this campaign, I think even the candidate himself, you always have to believe in yourself, right? But I think even Sanders didn't think in the very early days that he really was going to be able to be neck and neck with Hillary Clinton. And so there was a messaging campaign in the beginning. He just wanted to get his ideas out there. But now the stakes are different. Now they see, oh wow, we really could have won some of these states. We could have changed the trajectory of this race. Maybe we should have run a slightly different kind of campaign.
I was struck in the article that the candidate himself seemed to believe, again, to your point, that he was just going to be out there espousing his message and not actually in the race. I was so struck as well. His wife, very big part of the campaign, that she also apparently was in the minority, believing he should have done a lot more in Iowa prior to that first.
And he was, you know, I mean, to his credit, he was trying to do his day job. You know, he is still a U.S. Senator. He takes pride in being there, casting those votes. So he was kind of toggling back and forth between running his campaign and being in the Senate. And also, they didn't realize they were going to be hauling in $40 million a month. So they were trying to conserve resources. They weren't doing a ton of events. He's never been the kind of candidate who does 6 or 7 events a day and is running around, you know, glad handing. He likes to do, you know, one big speech, get 1,000 people, 10,000 people out there, you know, and campaign that way. So in any campaign, when you're behind, there are always going to be some regrets, some second guessing, and I think that's what you're seeing right now.
Fascinating stuff. Nancy, we appreciate the time.
Great to be with you, Josh.
And of course, stick with CBSN tomorrow. Full coverage of the crucial Wisconsin primary. We will be tracking all the action throughout the day right here on CBSN.